Another year. Injuries haven't been straightforward for the team. It's made it quite difficult, but overall, how would you assess the season so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think the riders are doing okay. I just think the level of the amount of factory teams in MX2 has, gone up because I think everyone's looking at MX2 to breed the next MXGP rider. So it sort of actually makes the rider, have a longer contract, but also, at the end of, also you're not trying to buy an expensive rider. If you groom a rider through and then, take the win, that way.
And you've got two British riders under the awning this year. It's been a while off the top of my head. Was that important for you this year to have two British riders under the awning, and Bobby and Billy?
No, it wasn't really. I mean, I wanted to concentrate on, trying to do a good job in MX2, and then, obviously Billy and Bobby didn't have a ride, so put something together, and that was very late, and then so then things had to be divided a bit, and also I sort of had to some of my silver VIP from the nations, I gave away a load of tables to Craig Alwell, who sold it to friends of Bobby. So really, that's what sort of financing Bobby. So that's how it happened. And then Billy again, he had some existing sponsors that have been helping him out, and we just got to sort of see how we can progress. I mean, obviously, it was a learning year for Billy. I mean, and he's shown some glimpses of speed, and speed is the difficult thing to get. And Jack needs to sort of commit more at the beginning of the race. He's also learning the tracks, but you can push a bit harder, and I think he realises that now. And Bobby's he came back from a bad injury from last year, and that was difficult. I think he underestimated how difficult that was going to be. He did a lot of time in Spain and everything, but realistically, racing is where it's at. And then obviously, he could have done sort of better results. But as I say, the level of MX2 has gone up considerably this year, and you need to be fully fit. You need to be fully focused, and you need to be abroad a bit more. And we weren't able to capitalise on that because, we didn't know the plan, that we were taking Bobby and Billy. But, overall I'm sort of happy with their progress, even though results don't show it.
And just on Billy, I think he was here last year watching actually, and before this year he had no experience racing outside the UK. So actually, okay, maybe the results aren't amazing on paper, but like you say, the speed, he's able to take the speed outside the UK and replicate that outside the UK. That doesn't always happen with British riders, so you must be happy with that and his mentality as well, because he doesn't seem too worried.
He has a winning mentality, and that he doesn't want to give up. But like I say, you also need the experience. You just can't jump in anymore like you used to be able to. I mean, if we think back to the riders that we've had at sort of 16 years old, Carl Nunn winning the Grand Prix, Billy McKenzie winning the Grand Prix. I had those riders sort of since they were sort of 14. So and I'm used to working with the young riders, and I think if you could have Billy McKenzie's attitude of do or die installed into a lot of riders, I think that would be good, because it didn't matter where Billy qualified. Billy McKenzie he could qualify 40th, and that he'd be around the first lap in the top 5, and he had so much aggression, and he still has that, as you've seen at 40 years old, getting a whole shot against Hurlings at the British.
Yeah, and just on Bobby Bruce, obviously he started the season in MX2 and he's made the switch to MXGP. Did that all come from Bobby? And then from your side, whenever they're all here, from a manager point of view, what's it like having a rider in MXGP, MX2 and EMX?
None of that's a problem. I mean, if we go back a few years, we had Arnold in MX2, we had Zach in MX2, we had, and they were regular podium guys. We had Mel winning the EMX, and we had Sean on MXGP. So yeah, we're not adverse to sort of a bit of mixing it up with the bikes. Is not a problem. I mean, all the Kawasaki bikes are good. It was really, you know, after Bobby injured his shoulder in Latvia, he had to take a bit of time out. He took some time out. Then Craig from DEP, sort of his, you know, bit of man, just said, what about going on a 450, go up to Scotland with Billy, just sort of come off the grid a bit, just try and get some laps in, and then come back strong after the sort of break, you know, because obviously it was Indonesia and that. So he went and did that. You know, Mark Chamberlain sort of suggested that would be a good idea as well, just to give him some more options in MX GP or MX2, so he's, you know, then he can call upon sort of 5 or 6 riders rather than sort of 4 or 5. You know, it's just an extra one in the mix, and Bobby's results were not fantastic. He's not going to lose anything whether he's finishing 25th or 21st or whatever in the MX2, and he's still young anyway. So yeah, after a couple of weeks on the 450, Billy said to me, and he said, like, you know, man, he's really looking good. You know, he says, I know the level I'm at and he's going good, and you know, I've seen him against Christian Perdue and stuff like that, and I said to Bobby, you know, what do you think? He said, yeah, I love it. He said, you know, I feel comfortable in it. I said, all right, okay, then we've got nothing to lose. You know, we were going to do Fox Hill, it got cancelled, so that was a bit of a bummer, and then obviously straight into sort of Lockett, and then Longmoor's 2 tricky tracks, and then yeah, then he had a good ride at Hawkstone, and then obviously he injured himself again last week, so that was not ideal.
And have you got an update of when we might see him back, or is it still up in the air?
You know, he's hoping to ride Switzerland next week.
Not too bad of an injury then, that's not too bad.
It just, yeah, he sort of, you know, partially dislocated his shoulder. I mean, you know, and obviously it sounds worse than it is, but I remember Justin Morris, when he rode for me, you know, dislocating, he would just bang his shoulder in against the post, get on again. You know, I think it's because it was Bobby's first time this year, you know, in his career that he'd done that. It's, you know, took a lot more pain. So.
And just on Jack Chambers, he's very consistent, you know, in between 11 and 14 sort of, pretty much every week.
Whether he starts at the front, he finishes 14.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He finishes 14.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you're looking to try and get some top 10 results between here and now.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think he needs to do? And also, what's he like to work with? He seems very level-headed, as we've seen in the GoPro there with Volk the other week.
Yeah. I mean, no, you know, I'm disappointed that we're not getting top 10s or even, you know, sneaking in the top 5, because, you know, he trained hard and in the winter, and you know, Zach, you know, was gauging him. You know, Zach Osborne, his trainer, and yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit missing there at the beginning, and you can't afford that. I mean, we saw that in Trentino when he started 3rd and sort of again ended back towards sort of 14th, and you know, we've seen him come from the back and end up 14th. But you know, if we look at the people that's ahead of him, there's not really many people that you could pick out and say, right, well, you know, Zanchi shouldn't be there, or Maneri shouldn't be there, or Cater Wolf shouldn't be there. You know, there's sort of 17 factory guys, you know, whether it's on Honda, KTM, Husky, Gas, Yamahas, TMs, Hondas, you know, and then there's, you know, us on the Kawasaki's. And so it's, you know, as I say, the level and intensity of MX2 has gone up hugely in this last, you know, since last year even. And so I think, you know, he's riding better and is more of a rounded rider. It's just that also everyone else has stepped up as well. And, you know, they were already at a level where they're used to all the tracks around Europe, whether it's sort of changing conditions, types of ruts, types of, and they've, you know, the people in Europe race a lot. People in America, you know, they get ready for Loretta Lynn's, you know, or the Mini O's, and they have 4-lap dashes, and everything's sort of focused on training, and they, you know, they go to Supercross and they have, you know, inch perfect timing, and you come to Europe and, you know, you're, one week you're in sort of rain, freezing cold, and next minute you're sort of going off to the sunshine, and, you know, and then you might have, EMX 125, so you might have 80 125s, 52 EMX 250s, a women's class, and the two classes, and lines develop differently. It's different on Saturday to it is Sunday, and in America you have like it all done on one day. So if it's going to be a rain and a mudder, you deal with that. It could be a sunny on Saturday and a mudder on a Sunday, or a vice versa. So it's dealing with those sort of conditions, and really he's coming along, and he probably he's done his sort of stages of a year and a half, and probably the next stage is to stay in Europe, but abroad away from the UK. But that's at the beginning you need that sort of be able to just get used to sort of your surroundings, and that it's a long process, and that's a process that the European riders are used to. With the EMX 65, 85s, 125s, they're doing their apprenticeship from an early age. You've got the riders now at 65, they're getting used to being a big paddock, they're getting used to sort of, Cater Wolf sitting there, or Hurlings, riding along, and it becomes normal, and they're not sort of in awe of what they're like. So it's a big learning curve.
And just on plans for 2025, what can you tell me about that? Firstly, you've been running Kawasaki for a number of years. Is that likely to continue? And just on your 3 riders you have now?
Yeah, so at the moment I did, this was my 10th year with Kawasaki. I did 25 years with Yamaha. So I'm pretty loyal to the brands, and I enjoy working with Kawasaki. And I have Kawasaki in the pipeline for next year. Just how we're going to structure, I don't know yet. Obviously my passion is MX2.
Okay.
EMX is, Billy's at EMX level. He needs bringing through for a couple of years, really. At 16, it's, you have to have a long vision of these riders, and that's, if I go back to, again, the old days, Zach Osborne was with me for 4.5 years. Billy Mack was with me 6 or 7 years. Paul Maling was 8 years. So, it takes a long time to get everything ready, and to gel and get the results.
And just on my final question, really, 2 parts to this, the Motocross the Nations. Firstly, how are ticket sales going? And secondly, is there going to be that many track changes, or are you just going to keep it as a GP track?
Oh no, so we've already changed the track.
Okay. Can you tell me a little about the changes?
Yeah,
then?
so we've just changed it from the pit lane, instead of looping back up again and then back down. It sort of cuts across the valley.
Okay.
Where the old tree that got blown down, we've cut across there, so it's taken out one loop there, and then we don't loop around the tree anymore because it makes no sense, because there's only one tree. And we've changed the approach coming up to the next, what was a double, that's now sort of a dragon back single type thing. It was really because, if you got a bad start, it was so that the good guys can get up to the front quickly, rather than have to sort of wait, go and loop after loop. It just makes it a bit more open. I've been sort of, I study all tracks and all types of passing, and both AMA, but Canada, Australia, and I want it nice open races, and I want people to continue to come and enjoy the track. We'll sift and load more dirt for it, and then after the quad, which I measured the other day, and it's actually bigger than Larocco's Leap.
Okay.
So and then that will, instead of going around the loop where the crowd is, we've allowed more for the crowd to come in, and then it will be a jump into the rhythm section, and then the rest is is the same. We'll just work with the dirt and put more dirt on it and rotate it, so that's good. And then Lee McGarry will do that, compression drops. We have a lot of help from the crew up there, and Jake Nichols from True Plant, they're giving us a lot of help, so that's good. But and ticket sales are going fine. That's, again, it's a touchy subject because people say, it's expensive. NA was like €150 for the weekend, and okay, this is 160. But a festival is expensive, and people don't realise how expensive things are. You know, like insurances and everything like that. At our level, you know, the police and the council, they're looking to, you know, that you're responsible for a lot of people's, you know, lives, and it's not like just, you know, we're above the sort of, you know, we're above the sort of level of normal motocross, and if that had to rise to a level of that we have to do, motocross would be out of the window, you know, because you can't have deaths and casualties and stuff like that at this level. And you know, we've seen now Fox Hill has had to sort of up their game and be a bit more stricter because of, you know, they had something happen a year ago.
And I've just thought of one other question there while you're talking. Obviously, no British GP this year. With Matterley having the Motocross of the Nations, is it likely Matterley will have a GP again next year? Or is it still up in the air?
3 or 4 years left of my contract.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've done some changes also to the second European paddock area, which, you know, been flattening that out and you know, making that ready for the future as well. And SWP, you know, a sponsor of the team, they've extended the bridge, you know, to make it better for the marshals and stuff like that. So yeah, we've just been, you know, each time there's a Nations, we try and do quite a lot to the dirt and everything, just so it lasts for the next sort of few years.
Perfect. Thanks very much for your time, Steve. Much appreciated.